John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
I'm shouting, I'm about $1. Y'all know that I'm about $1. I'm about $1. Your Honor, I'm about $1.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creatives to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next?
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Houston, my Houston, I'm in a show October the 15th and 16th. It's less about me and more about Ernie. Episode 126 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. Walk with us. It's time to pod.
Feel like 95, Sachi on my body.
Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. Welcome back to episode 126 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. That's the WHAT, no apostrophe S, NEXT, exclamation, question mark. This is a creative story. Before we get started with the episode, let's introduce our social media
John Ross Dike
handles,
I, founder.
so we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. Social medias, you said?
Yeah.
So my personal social media is Ernster on IG. That's ERNSTER_. My business Instagram page is Kote. That's KOTE_IT. You could also follow my business on Facebook at Kote Arms. That's KOTEIT Arms.
Okay. And my name is...
of Still Visionary Inc. and creator
We go right there.
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and Still_Visionary. If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Directly in front of you, I have all the merch that I sell on my podcast, out the trunk of my car and on this, and on my website, and you can shop stillvisionary.com/merch. Listen, man, I saw your IG post, and like I commented, you had Nas playing in the background.
Yes, sir.
Who to me is one of the, let me not say one of the greatest MC I've ever listened to, right? Mm-hmm. And so I said, when you were displaying everything in your IG post, I said, it's time. Let me reach out, and it's time to podcast. And I came here to get your story. Mm-hmm. I came here to ask you some pertinent questions, some intrusive questions. And I would hope that in this conversation that you didn't shy away from asking me questions as well, mm-hmm. so that we can learn and build from each other.
Exactly.
And, I want to start off by saying congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on doing what most can't do, that is start their own business.
Appreciate you.
And let's get started, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Life is good right now. No complaints here. Yeah. So just enjoying life day by day.
Yeah.
Living it up as much as I can.
Yeah.
And just enjoying what's left, because you never know.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm trying to move forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you go to TSU or U of H?
I went to TSU.
All till you graduated?
Yeah. Well, if you want to talk about the journey, we can talk
let's
about the
let's get into it. Let's get into it.
So after I graduated high school, I first attended Louisiana State University. I went to Baton Rouge for a year. Things got a little hectic out there. It got expensive, to be honest. So I came back to Houston, went to ACC for a year or two, and ended up transferring to TSU. Got my undergrad there, got my master's there.
Master's in what?
Master's in Management Information Systems.
Okay.
Got my undergrad in Electronics Engineering Technologies.
Okay.
And so that's my educational journey.
What part of the city are you from?
Grew up in A-Leaf. I'm out in Cypress now.
Yeah.
But A-Leaf all my life. Went to Elsick High School. Graduated class of 03.
Okay.
Houstonian all my life.
Okay.
Parents from Cameroon.
Okay.
That's pretty much my story.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Listen, man. I was excited to do this episode because it's not very often that I get to tote a gun on camera.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I want to get into the infatuation. It's on your IG, you said you like guns. You got a little water pistol on your profile.
Yeah.
I want to get into the why, the where, the when, the how come, and just get through that whole thing.
Yeah, of course.
Leading up into this point. What do you think people should take from our conversation today in regards to being a gun carrier, starting your own gun shop, and why now for you?
I think what people should take from this is so I take protection and self-defense pretty serious. It's a big thing for me. So really what I would like to take is that people shouldn't shy away from the topic of guns because it's still kind of taboo. Even though it's a big thing and new gun ownership is going up as fast as possible in record numbers, I think it's important for people to understand that, especially in the way America is moving now, the gun culture is getting bigger and bigger every day. I meet a lot of people who still don't want to talk about it or still like to shy away from it. And the way I kind of put it to them is, it's getting so big, it's almost something you can't just sweep under the rug. You have to teach your kids about gun safety. You have to teach yourself about gun safety. You have to know the laws because you don't want to get out here and get caught up for not knowing what's going on in society and the world today. So I just want people to be more educated. I also see a lot of people not knowing laws and what's going on, and a lot of things we do is, especially in politics, and I don't want to make this a political thing, but obviously the topic of guns is a very partisan issue. And as a society, especially black folks, we kind of just go with whatever the politician says. We don't really look into things for ourselves, and I think that kind of sets us up for failure or to get caught up in the long run. So I'm all about us getting educated. And I feel like because I'm kind of in this space and a lot of people really don't have a friend or know somebody or have a resource who's really in that space that looks like them or who looks like us, I kind of feel like I have the responsibility to educate our people more on gun culture and what's going on in the gun community and things of that nature. So as far as it now, I mean, why not now? Like I said, numbers are going crazy. African Americans by themselves are an increasing demographic in the gun community and are the biggest purchasers right now, so in record numbers. So I think right now, being up on knowledge, being up on safety is a big thing because it kind of can reduce a lot of incidents and accidents and irresponsible ownership and things of that nature. Because obviously we got the Texas constitutional carry going on right now, which is almost, a lot of people say is going to create more instances of where accidents can happen. So what we have is a lot of people just going out there and buying guns, but not seeking training and not seeking knowledge. And when you have that, it could kind of create a dangerous situation in certain homes, certain environments, because now you have guns that are coming into the homes. They don't know how to use them. They're just buying them, not securing them safely, and that could create a dangerous environment for the home. So I'm real big on learning how to responsibly be a gun owner. So that's my thing right now.
Why do you think that people are scared to talk about guns?
I think it's just real, still, like I said, kind of taboo. I don't know. Even because of the position I'm in, I could see I might come in here, right? Somebody might come and buy a gun, and what I like to do is I'll take a picture of some of my customers, and some of them, they'll love to take a picture because they want to support, and some of them it's like, I don't really want to because I don't want somebody to know or see what I'm getting, and I can understand that as well. You don't have to have everybody know what's going on as far as your personal protecting, your purchases, what you have, and I totally understand that. But for some people, it's kind of like they don't want to be seen in that light. A lot of people support me and support my business, but they won't support publicly just because maybe you have a coworker who's like, oh my gosh, you're into guns or you like guns or, so I think perception is a big part of it. And even still, like I said, I don't want to make this about politics, but politics is a big part of it. I have friends who have known me for a while, and they know I've kind of been in the gun space for a while, right? But they kind of, quote unquote, judge or look at me different because of what I'm in. For instance, I'm an independent, right? If you would ask my friend, he would think I'm like a Trump lover, all because I'm into guns, So the stigma that, hey, guns is like a Republican thing or it's a white thing, I don't really subscribe to that, and I think we as people should take it more seriously and not just say, hey, it's a white thing or it's a right that I feel like, and I think we are understanding now how important it is, which is why we're buying in numbers and things like that. But it's a right that we need to make sure we secure, and make sure we don't put it to the back burner because it's still important.
Right.
So yeah, I feel just real strongly about us making sure that we don't forget that the Second Amendment is for all of us, and that it's a very big, it's instrumental to our survival.
Right. Are you a CHL holder?
Yes, of course.
When they wiped it, see, listen, I'm the type of person, I'm a doer. And I don't want to sound ignorant, but I spend a lot of less time reading all of the rules. I don't know all of the rules, and I don't have patience to read all of the rules. All I know is that I went and did the gun safety because when I bought my first pistol, and I think it was 2012, I bought it from Academy, and I had at the time, before I had gone to the classes,
what pistol was it?
It was the Ruger 45.
Okay.
Right, and I only got that not necessarily because I had trained with guns and I found the right one for me. It was one of those things where growing up watching movies, you always heard about the 45, 357 Magnum, 45 pistol. It was in rap music all the time, so I just knew that I wanted a 45. So now that you don't have to get a CHL, where does that put us in terms of gun carriers and people that are licensed versus people that are not licensed?
And I'm glad good question that you brought that up. So kind of what I said, you have this situation where somebody can say, oh, I want to go get a gun. And let's be straight, before this new law even passed, you kind of had the same situation, right? Because somebody could have a CHL, go get their CHL, get their license, they'll buy a firearm, and that might be the only training they take. Their gun is going to go collect dust. It might be secure, it might not, but they're going to place it under their pillow, or maybe they lock it up, but they won't do any further training past that one class. So it kind of, people don't kind of take training seriously anyways. Most people, like I said, most people are hey, I can go buy a gun, I'm gonna get one, but I'm not gonna train with it. So you still haven't learned the basic rules of gun safety. You still really don't know how to properly manipulate that firearm, use that firearm. All you know is if I pull the trigger, it'll shoot. You understand? You don't know to treat every firearm like it's loaded. You don't have a proper grasp of being a responsible gun owner. So, like I said, with the way, we're out here buying more guns, and now we don't have the requirement to even take the basic training class, So with that being said, some of those people are buying the guns and aren't going to do any training at all. They're going to buy the gun and either stash it under a pillow where it shouldn't be. Let me rephrase that. It shouldn't be there if let's say, take me for instance, I have kids at home, and my son is 3, so we're slowly getting to the age where, I'm going to train him to, hey, let's say you see a firearm somewhere. It might not even be just my house. You might go to your friend's house. Maybe they didn't properly store their guns. But I'm kind of training him to understand that a firearm is a dangerous weapon. If you see one, don't touch it. Come tell daddy or a grown-up around, And I think that's the conversation that any gun owner needs to have if they have children in the house. You could be kind of more lenient if, you're home alone and you live by yourself. Your firearm's going to be wherever you put it, where nobody's going to touch it.
Right.
But I think we have to take responsible gun ownership more seriously, because the thing is, a lot of people will try to make it about, oh, it's more guns and the gun is going to be the issue. To me, it's more so lack of knowledge, lack of training, lack of education on the issue that will lead to incidents that are dangerous or deadly.
Right.
Yeah. So to me, the onus is more so always on the owner. the owner and the purchaser, just to be more responsible. So, you know, it's a deadly weapon. It's not just a regular tool. It needs to be treated as such.
Give me your top 3 safety rules, top 3 things that you go by.
Okay. For one, every firearm needs to be treated like it's loaded at all times. I think people that are in the gun space or just have a proper knowledge of guns, they know there could always be one in the chamber if you don't see or clear it. So I don't know if you...
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Go ahead.
Just a little...
Here we go. This is what we came to do, y'all.
Yeah, so this is...
So your gun right now is what? Is it loaded or... Well, the magazine is out.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. Magazine is out. We got ammo in there.
Mm-hmm.
Should be one in the chamber. I know there is. Yeah, there is.
Okay, there's one. Okay.
So this is what I'm saying. Because for somebody who's a new gun owner who really isn't familiar with guns, they'll think, oh, I dropped the magazine. It's empty.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And they might, hey, let's say they point this at their face or at somebody, you know, just to play around or for whatever reason. So that kind of goes into the next rule, finger off the trigger until you're actually ready to shoot.
Right.
Right. Because like I said, it's still loaded. Finger off the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. And I'm going to clear it now. So
Go ahead.
see a round came out, so now it's completely empty.
Now it's complete. Okay.
And this is just a habit. I rack it a few times, but gun's always loaded. So even still, I know it's unloaded, but I'm still going to treat it like it's loaded. I'm not going to point it at you. I'm not going to point it at me.
Okay.
You know, even though I know it's clear.
Okay.
Finger off the trigger. That's number 2. Number 3 for me is always keep it pointed in a safe direction, like I said. So I'm not going to point it at you. I'm not going to look at it, look down the barrel. If I'm cleaning it, yeah, because now I know it's empty, but it's just always a safe rule that it's always loaded, finger off the trigger, and keep it pointed in a safe direction.
Right.
And so for me, I want to say those are the top 3. There's a few more that I would like to make sure everybody should learn, because there's really like a basic 4, basic 5, but those 3 will pretty much keep you from any accident.
Treating the gun like it's loaded.
Yeah,
Keeping your finger off the trigger and pointing it away.
Yeah, so those are the main 3 I would say for me.
Okay. I'm a big Denzel Washington fan, and I noticed that, you know, maybe he's been trained in how to use weapons. I'm assuming that he has been, but he tends to lean towards that Glock.
Yeah.
He loves the Glock. Your gun of choice?
Yeah, so I'm a Glock fan. I want to say, so my first gun was a High Point that I got out the pawn shop.
Okay, what is that? What is a High Point? I don't know.
Man, so a lot of people aren't too keen to High Points. I know when I first got one, it jammed a lot.
Right.
Obviously, I got it from the pawn shop, but it jammed a lot. And the more I got to learn about guns and got more knowledgeable about guns, I found out High Point wasn't it, right? So they kind of refer to that gun as like a throwaway gun. Like they'll say gangbangers use those and, you know, do what they do and toss them out type.
Right.
So, yeah, that was my first gun. My second gun was a Smith and Wesson.
Now, Smith and Wesson is like Ruger.
Yeah.
And okay,
brand,
got you. The brand.
And it was a pretty good gun. And that was my first legit gun. Very basic, but still did what it needed to do. Reasonably priced. Got it from Academy as well.
Okay.
And I rocked that gun for a minute. I ended up selling it eventually. Then the next gun I got was not this Glock, but a Glock 26, which is what I carry on me on a regular basis. So what I like about Glock, people kind of compare it to, they call it like the Honda Civic of firearms, right?
Doesn't break down.
It's reliable. What I like about it is you could customize it, because there's a lot of aftermarket parts you could buy to replace the original parts you have in it. So what I like about it is you could customize it the way you want. Pretty much all the Glocks I have, and Glock isn't the only gun I have as well, but all the Glocks that I do have, they're not stock guns. I probably replaced the trigger, replaced a lot of parts, put different sights on it. This one right here has got a red dot sight on it, a different trigger. So you kind of can set it up the way you want, and it's still pretty affordable.
Right.
So that's what I like about Glocks. Yeah, they're pretty good guns.
I saw that, you know, I mean, they have a distinct look, but like you said, you can customize them. Mm-hmm. But I always notice that he just tends to lean towards Glocks, and I was just wondering, is it something of a preference, or is it easier to shoot, or does it hold more rounds, or what?
I think, like I said, what it is the aftermarket parts. For instance, if you look on the wall, I got magazine extensions that I could put on this that'll add more rounds to it.
Right.
All kind of just different attachments and things you could add to them. A lot of different firearms have those as well, but with Glock, there's so many different. Even if you look down here, there's different slides I could put on this thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think is real good about that brand. You hear it in the music all the time, so of course with us it's going to be popular. You know, if you hear people that you like, and artists that you like always talking about the same thing, we kind of tend to, you know, go towards that.
Right.
So obviously if you're hearing it in the music, you know, like you said, you see Denzel Washington with all the time. He's influences a lot of people.
Right.
So if Denzel Washington is talking about Glock and always has a Glock, man, I want to see what Glock's about.
Right.
So I think that's part of it as well. A lot of people who are really in the gun community, they might say, hey, I really don't like Glocks. They really don't like the standard trigger, which is why I say you could switch it out. So to me, it's good in that nature because you can customize it how you want.
Right.
You understand? So yeah, it's a good brand. Like I said, I'm a Glock guy. I really don't have any negative things to say about Glock other than whatever issue you have with it, you could probably customize it and get it the way you like. So
you could put a safety on there?
Nah, you can't put a safety on it. And so with that, right, because a lot of people tend to not want to mess with Glocks because there's no safety.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, so let me even be more technical. So Glock has some safety features. There's 3 different internal safeties that the Glock has. Mm-hmm. So it makes it safer. There's no manual safety where you can't switch it on and off. For me personally, I don't like manual safeties. And a lot of experienced shooters tend to not like manual safeties because you don't want to ever, oh, is it on? You know, when it comes time to use it, you know? Mm-hmm. You just want to be able to know you can pick it up and it's going to run, mm-hmm. you know? So for me, that's why I don't prefer guns with safeties. And that's pretty much why most people who are real comfortable with guns would prefer not to have a safety. So yeah, it's just kind of a personal preference type thing, you know? And once you get more comfortable, like for me, I used to not keep a round in the chamber, you know?
Right.
Once I got comfortable and was carrying, you know, more and was more comfortable with using firearms and carrying it every day, I was like, why would I not have my gun ready to go when I need it? Because you never know, you know? Yeah. When you pull it out, you don't have time to, hey, hold on, let me rack my chamber real quick before you try to rob me, you know?
Right.
So you just kind of have to meet people where they are, you know? And like I said, it just comes with training and education. The more you're at the range practicing and getting more comfortable, you might say, you know what, why am I carrying a gun that's not ready to go when I need it, you know? Because split seconds matter. So,
how many guns do you own?
I got about 6 or 7 right now. My collection is really not where I want it to be.
Right.
Obviously, now that I got the store, you know, it's probably going to increase. But I got a few handguns. I have 2 ARs that I built. I have a shotgun and 1 or 2 more handguns.
Right.
Yeah. So plan to get more stuff. I got Christmas coming up, so I got a Christmas list. I got a Christmas list. That's some stuff I'm eyeing that's on my watch list. So
right. You never leave your house without one, right?
I try to never leave. There's some instances where I might rush out the house and forget, and you know, I'll immediately know, damn, I left my gun. You know, so I try to never leave home without it. But yeah, that's keys, wallet, phone, pistol.
Yeah. I say the same thing. The infatuation behind the pistol for you comes from where?
I wouldn't even say infatuation, but so here's how it started. It became, I don't know, I just always kind of, I guess you could say infatuation, right?
Yeah,
so I thought it was, to me, it was just a cool thing, you know? They're just cool. So if it's cool, you're going to start to learn about it and, you know, hey, let me start messing with these things, take them to the range, shoot them, play with them. So It did kind of get to like, man, I like this, and I just became a shooter. Range days, sporting clays. It was just a hobby that kind of turned into something I could turn into a business.
Right.
So it went from a hobby to me Cerakoting stuff, which is kind of like customizing. In layman terms, like painting. I kind of like call it painting guns to people who really don't know. It's like the easiest way to explain it. But I kind of started doing my own, and it became a thing where people, hey, do mine, because it kind of, when I did it, kind of looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that for a little while, as well as using it on other things, because you could use it on different metals and things like that. But that's kind of how I started my business: Cerakoting tumblers and firearms and doing etching and things like that nature. And it just kind of started to pick up, and finally the opportunity presented itself to where I could do this. Start.
Hold on, slow. Okay, slow. We're gonna get to that.
Get to that. But,
go ahead.
Yeah. But it was a hobby, man, that just turned into something I like to do. So yeah, I see now, going to the range for me is like sometimes like therapy. Like I go to the range, I'm by myself, just shooting.
Right.
That's how I relax sometimes. So.
Before we move forward, you said earlier, you said a lot of people don't train. What do your training regimens consist of?
So,
and how often do you do that?
So I need to do it more often. I found now, that I have more time to do it. What is a common practice is called dry fire, or even drawn from holster, which I practice even more now since I have my shop and I'm in here more now. I need to be able to properly pull from my holster, which is a skill in itself, because if you're not doing that on a regular basis, you're not going to know how to do it. You're not going to be ready to do it. There's times when I'm practicing pulling from holster and, or even not even pulling from holster, but when I wear my Glock 26, I appendix carry, which means I'm carrying it right here, in front of my pelvis. So practicing, drawing from holster is very important, because like I said, when you need to use it and get to it and go, you need to use it and get to it and go.
Right.
So I could see when I'm practicing pulling from holster, maybe it gets caught. I might have basketball shorts on that day. It'll get caught up, and I'm stuck. So imagine if I really needed to pull at that time and that happened.
Right.
So that's why you can't stress enough. Just like preparing and doing those things, you can't just put it to the side and let it collect dust, because when it's time to go, you need to know that your stuff is working, that you can work it, and you can be ready for whatever happens, because whatever can happen wherever, and that's a big thing to me, always letting people know. Because I'll meet people all the time, and I almost love like getting into the conversation with people, because you kind of get to see how people don't even think about these things when it's something real important, especially people that have families, but they never think to, what, I might, either if they have one or they don't have one, but even if they have one, they never think, I might need to be ready to defend myself or my family at any time. I need to like kind of sharpen up my skills. So, I just, like I said, for me, it's knowledge and just putting the thought in people's minds, because some people, I'll give you a good example. My neighbor, her husband, he drives trucks a lot, and they got a little girl. So she's pretty much home by herself. Well, not by herself, because she's with her kid, but her husband's gone. And her husband kind of wanted to get a firearm, for himself, and obviously them as well. And she's kind of like, I don't want a gun, or I don't want a gun in the house. Keep that. Whenever you leave, just make sure you take it with you. So he's kind of like been warming up to her about, hey, I want to get a gun. I think I want to get a gun in the house. But he didn't just like bring it in, but just warming it up to her. So just kept on, hey, so finally, he got one and brought it home. Hey, look what I got, And, she's still kind of, hesitant, like, hey, I don't want it, if you leave, make sure, because we have a kid in the house or whatever. Right. I just don't want it here when you're not here.
Right.
And there was an incident that happened kind of in our neighborhood where there was, because they had an Airbnb in the neighborhood, and, we got cameras and stuff, so there was like a little incident, and one day they weren't home, and I checked on, like, hey, are you guys home, And after that little incident, right, she kind of started to think different, like, okay, maybe I could see why this and why that. And I was kind of like letting her know, yeah, because she was telling me about her husband. I was like, yeah, well, he's thinking right. Like, he wants y'all to be safe while y'all are away, especially with your little girl at home. You know, I could understand exactly where he's coming from. So me talking to her, she kind of started to like agree and see where he's coming from. Right. And in my head, I'm like, why wasn't it as important coming from him? You know, why did I have to reinforce, you know? And yeah, so that's to me, I think a lot of people, like I said, just don't think about it in depth. But if somebody breaks into your house and it's just you and your daughter, I would think you would love or want to have something to protect you and your daughter if need be, you know? So that's the way I always kind of look at it. That to me, that's the overarching thing is if you have a firearm around, let's say it's locked up, it gives you a chance. It always gives you a chance, you know? Right. It's better to have it and not need it than to not have it at all, you know, if you need it. So that's for me, how I look at things and how I feel like people should look at it as far as protecting themselves and their safety.
I can tell your gun is planted on your right-hand side. You pick up a gun on the floor. How do you know that, you know, your right hand is the more dominant hand to shoot with?
That's kind of one of those things about going to the range and seeing, you know, what feels comfortable, feels good for you. And I would think, you know, if you're already right-handed, you know, you'll be more comfortable shooting right-handed. And if you're left-handed, I would think you'll be more comfortable shooting left-handed. So I think it just kind of goes with, you know, feeling it out and in training. A lot of people will kind of ask me, you know, what kind of gun do you recommend for a girl or for a boy, or what, you know, what's more recommended? And to me, I always tell them this: there's guns I can recommend. I can recommend guns all day, but look at your hands compared to mine. You know, we're not gonna pick up the same gun and it feel the same way. And man, this is comfortable for me. You might say, oh, this is too small.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it might be the perfect fit. So I always encourage people to go to a gun shop, go to a range, go to a gun convention where there's a plethora of guns. You can see what feels comfortable for you. Oh, I like how this feels. Well, next step, take it to the range, shoot it, see if it's comfortable, if you can handle the recoil. You don't want to, because a gun is a pretty significant purchase. You don't want to spend $300, $400, $500 on a gun that you'll take home, and let's say you take it to the range a year later because you've locked it up and stuffed it under your pillow, and you don't shoot it till you take it to the range a year later. And when you finally shoot it, you're like, this is too powerful. I can't handle the recoil. You know, so what are you gonna do with it now? You know, you could train with it and get comfortable with it, but if it's something you're just not comfortable with it, you're not comfortable with it. You know, you probably would have made a better purchase if you did more research, and shot it and took it to the range and practiced with it. So, yeah, it's not a cookie cutter thing. You kind of have to see what works for you. So that's kind of the philosophy I go with as far as selecting stuff.
In this very moment, I think about, I've been on Nas I Am lately, and it's kind of motivated me to get back on my grind. Nas, in my opinion, is the greatest storyteller to ever do it. On his second LP, it was written, track number 4. Track number 4 is called Take It in Blood. No. It's called I Gave You Power. That is a song that is on my mind right now, where Nas raps as if he was a pistol. What song is on your mind right now?
Man, that Composure track, like you said, so King's Disease 2 is like one of it's a very dope album for me. It's probably in playing in my car. Well, not playing in my car, but that's what's going to be playing in my car when I'm riding around. But Composure, I really like that song. I think for me, it really relates to my life right now with so much. I got a lot going on, business, family, not work anymore because I'm completely self-employed now. But
round of applause.
Yes, sir.
Round of applause.
But yeah, just that word in itself, composure. When all kind of stuff is going on around you, just keeping your head, you know, making sure you're staying on the job and doing the work and just staying focused. So for me, yeah, that composure, especially I'm in the track is fire already. But just the message, you know, it resonates with me at this current point in my life.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Habakkuk 2:2-3 says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You do what you do for yourself to prove you can do it for others. Even though the year of perfect vision needed corrective lenses, your vision was never out of focus. You remained still. You remained determined." Kobe said, "The Mamba mentality is the attention to detail and the level of commitment. Run your race because you got time. Keep the momentum. Believe in your story, a creative story. Remember, never stay comfortable while trusting the process. Be innovative in your 720 hours. There will be stumbling blocks. You just keep pushing. Most importantly, what's next? Continue to drop."
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
That's dope.
So, A-Leaf Hastings?
Elsick.
A-Leaf Hasick. Elsick.
Elsick, yeah.
Elsick,
They're pretty
okay.
much, I don't want to say one and the same, but we're connected by NX.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when people say, like, Hastings and Elsick, it pretty much goes together, but yeah.
Okay. Class of 2003.
3, yes, sir.
You go to LSU first. Information and business. Information and
Management Information Systems.
and then your master was in what? Master?
My master's was Management Information Systems.
What was your undergrad in again?
Electronics, Engineering Technologies.
Okay. So you were doing what before you became self-employed?
I was working for Harris County Juvenile Probation Department in the Technology Department. I was a systems integrity officer. Or pretty much I did like data corrections and stuff like that, sitting in front of the computer all day.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of became too monotonous for me. I kind of
Yeah.
saw that, it wasn't
yeah.
what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So,
Mm.
it was time to, start getting into what I wanted to do.
Right.
So, I kind of started, taking steps to create my exit strategy.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
see,
Here we go. Okay, you walking into it.
Yeah. And so they kind of helped, but we were playing chicken for a while because I kind of seen, I seen how stuff was going, so I started to prepare. We got sent to work from home, and I kind of saw that, okay, here's the lane to where I could start kind of focusing on my business a little bit. And I just started to jump in and, start to make my dream come true, literally make my dream come true. So, a while later, it was kind of like it's a long story, but they pretty much like let me go after I came back from being on quarantine.
Right.
Yeah, so that first day I got back, they terminated me. And I was like, it was a great feeling actually because I'd been waiting for them. Like I said, we were playing chicken. And I had been waiting for them like, hey, if y'all gonna do something. And I kind of forced their hand because I wanted to take some time off that I felt I needed, which was due to me because it was a paternity leave.
Right.
And I knew once I brought that up that it was only going to be a matter of time before they either let me go, because I knew they weren't going to just let me take off paid time off. So while we were playing chicken and waiting, I was getting my ducks in a row, just planning my exit strategy. So when it finally came, I was like, thank you. I'm out here. It's time to get it. Like I said, get on my grind. And I'm enjoying it. I get to wake up. I get to hang with my kids, drop them off at school, and just do things how I want to do things, make money the way I want to make money, take care of my family. I get to set up my day the way I want to set up my day, Right. So, it's just a great feeling. I feel the day they let me go was like one of the most freest moments of my life, So it felt great, man. I loved it, so.
You so I'm looking at the video that you had Composure on, and I see you setting up, the gun display and everything like that. While you were planning your exit strategy, what was the first piece of equipment that you needed to be able to say, okay, here it is, I'm gonna build off of this?
So, man, the exit strategy. I mean, the shop was already up. You know, it was good to go. It was more so I needed to set in place or perfect the infrastructure of how I was going to be handling, you know, business and moving and things like that. So before the exit strategy, I was kind of, because I had a soft opening, and I was kind of moving stuff here and there. So I was still kind of, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I knew I wanted to be 100% in this, you know? So it was kind of hard to like build your business when you're still, you know, going to your regular job every day. You know, you're just not in it 100%. So for a while, I hated it. Like, I'm like, man, I just want to do what I want to do. I want to, you know, focus on my business. I want to be in here more than just, because by the time, and I'm sure this happens for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially ones with families, by the time you get off work, deal with the kids, you know, handle what you got to do at home. Let's say I want to come in here and, you know, handle some business. By the time I get to working and feeling like I need to, there's something I need to finish up for the day, it might be 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I got to be up at 5 in the morning, you know, to deal with my regular job. So it just kind of, you know, tolls on you to the point where you're like, man, I'd rather just be focused on building what I feel is going to take care of my family for the rest of my life, you know, and set us up to live the way we want to live, you know. Right. And I knew where I was at, that wasn't gonna do that. I felt like, you know, I kind of reached my ceiling in that space. So yeah, I felt like it was the best decision to make.
Mm-hmm. So you already were talking about it earlier, and you mentioned that it was a hobby of yours, collecting weapons, right?
Yeah, like shooting and
right.
Yeah, stuff like that.
So when you finally, so this space, you bought this space it is, or you leased this space it is, regardless of what happened, you got the space it is. How do you restock all the inventory? What kind of connections did you make to be able to get that material to, you know, you sell one and then you can replace it?
So, and a lot of this is new because, like I said, I've been customizing for a while, but I wasn't into sales and getting the guns in. You know?
Right.
It was more so customizing stuff that people already owned, you know, which is still kind of what I do. So now, but yeah, no, getting into business, I've learned a lot. I've made connections with distributors and other gun shop owners I've met who've kind of like given me a lot of game, a lot of helpful info. And I've just been meeting all kinds of new people. And I was just talking about this the other day. I've been meeting so many people, so many new people, so many cool people. And it feels like it's happening more so often just because of, you know, the space I'm in now. I'm going to have the opportunity to meet all kind of people and, you know, deal with all kind of wide variety range of people that I normally wouldn't get to meet, just because there's people who are going to come in that you've never met that have all kind of different backgrounds. So yeah, that's. I feel like the space I'm in my life now, I kind of see I enjoy like talking to people about a wide variety range of things. So being able to meet a stranger who you connect with, whether it's on some gun stuff, and usually obviously it's some gun stuff because they come in for guns, it's real cool, you know, because a lot of times we just kind of focus on why we're different from people and, you know, right. what separates us.
Right.
So yeah, just being able to meet on the same playing field with people and share common interests is pretty cool.
Glock 26. Your name, where does that come from?
Ernie?
No.
Kote. So Kote, right?
Yeah.
So Cerakote is kind of a play on the product. So a Cerakote it's a ceramic coating, which is what you use to pretty much color the firearms, spray the firearms. Even you'll see some firearms that maybe come in a different color. Like for instance, this one right here. You see it's already my fault. It's already.
No, you good.
Yeah, it's already tan, flat, dark earth. Right, that's Cerakote.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I came with Kote. It's a play on Cerakote.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I came with the name. the logo. Shout out to Cosmo.
Okay, no doubt.
Yeah.
Cos, what's up? What's up, baby?
Fire logo. I love. As soon as he sent it, I loved it. Colors, everything. And people love it all the time. When I hand out my cards, like, man, I like your logo. That's pretty dope. Or, who did it? Where'd you get it? So,
right.
Yeah, man.
But that gun's not a Glock, though.
Yeah, nah, it's not a Glock. They look like some Desert Eagles, but nah, he threw them up there. Like I said, I'm gonna holler at him to revamp it. But once he revamps it, we might have to throw in the Glocks.
Yeah, because it's got a hammer on the back.
Yeah. But nah, it's still fire. And then he got the little Cerakote mask. So yeah, it was a dope logo, man.
In this moment, okay, I like to. There's this question that I came up with in the podcast. It's called, if you could define yourself in one word, what would it be? So I asked that question because I like to hear that one word that people define themselves at. As a business owner now, an avid gun collector, and an aficionado of weapons, how would you define yourself in one word?
Man, good question. And I would say evolving, right?
Evolving.
I think a thing with me is I don't like to confine myself, or I don't like people to confine me either or put me in a box. So I feel like I'm always learning. I always want to learn more. I wouldn't even, a lot of people, okay, hey man, you're the expert. I'm like, man, I'm not nowhere close. I know a lot of people who know more than me, and I want to tap into those people and learn their knowledge. Like I said, I'm meeting new people. I met a gun shop owner the other day who's been in the game for like 30-something years, and he's just giving me info. And I'm like, I want to be around people like that. I want to always evolve. I want to get better in what I'm doing because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn, and so much I want to learn, and so many different avenues in the industry where you could go, and make your way. So the more knowledge I have, and not just gun stuff, just anything, I feel like I'm always trying to improve myself, and self-improvement is real big for me right now. So evolving, always want to get better, knowing that there's so many better versions of yourself you can get to,
Right.
And I'm only 36. We're all, young,
Right.
There's so much to learn still. So, yeah, man, I think evolving is the word I like to describe myself with right now, because knowing I'm always going to get better, I always want to get better. So,
you got your first gun from the pawn shop. Mm-hmm. Then you got your Smith and Wesson from Academy. Mm-hmm. After Academy, because I bought my first weapon from Academy, where would somebody who wants to buy a new gun go to outside of like the normal Academy or the pawn shop? Where do you recommend that person goes to?
They gotta come to me.
No doubt.
They gotta come to me, especially if I know you. Don't let me see you with a gun from somebody else you didn't get from me. Come on now. Yeah, so now it's funny because I'll see people, or even if they just mention, hey, I just got a new gun. I'm like, how long have I known you?
Yeah.
You know I'm in the game.
Yeah.
You didn't reach out to me about, which is fine, because for me, it's all about, I care about you being protected and worrying about, self-defense for yourself.
Right.
So it seemed crazy. So for a while, I was like, man, I need to get my shop open. I was waiting on things. Things were happening in life and stuff. I was waiting on permits, all kind of stuff. And people would always say, man, I'm waiting on you, taking so long, this, that. I'm like, don't put that on me.
Right.
I've been preaching about gun ownership and protecting yourself and having a gun in your home and for years before this shop was even a thought,
Right.
So, and sometimes it's just on some playful. I'm like, but they kind of see like, you know what, you're right. I should have been thinking about this. Another funny thing, right? When the whole election was going on, man, my phone started to blow up. My Instagram started to blow up. But I've been doing this for a while, but everybody was on some heightened, sensitive, scary, I don't know what's going to happen. I need to get protection. And it's always funny to me because I'm like, why was it never a big thought before? If you watch the news every day, you live in Houston, you see crime is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, politics and all that stuff, it should be, you should have been worried about it before then, Mm-hmm. And it's funny because once all that stuff died down, then phone kind of started to die down a little bit, and it wasn't as I'm worried about what's going to happen with the crazy people with guns, So it's kind of funny to see that happen, and I think we kind of get complacent, with that. But that's kind of why I always want to. It's just important to me to never forget that your gun rights is important, more so important for us. Don't take it lightly. So,
I want to make a phone call.
Oh, go ahead.
To my I started my real estate career. This last quarter, right? Mm-hmm. And my brother, who is getting ready to open up a gun range.
Mm-hmm.
Jay,
what's good, bro?
What's going on, man? I'm on the podcast. I got my man Ernie here, who has his own gun shop, right? And I'm calling you because I know we finna get this gun range going, right? And so I want to kind of put y'all together because my man on the phone, Jonathan, is almost like you. Loves guns, reads about guns, see how he's laughing, trains with guns. And so, Jonathan, what's your gun of choice, man?
Say again?
What's your gun of choice?
The Glock 19 Gen 3.
The Glock 19, yeah. See? That's what I told you.
That's my baby.
Why you say that, man?
That's my baby. It's very reliable, It doesn't jam. It doesn't jam, It's double stack, so it holds enough, Not that I'll need enough, but it holds enough, It doesn't. I've cleaned it maybe a handful of times, and I've had it for years. So I don't know. Yeah, that's my baby, man.
Do you have it completely stocked? Do you running anything aftermarket on it or anything?
Nah, it's all stock. Mm-hmm. Everything's stock. I sold it though. I had a 19X.
Oh, okay.
The desert sand, the desert sand one. Yeah. It was comfortable. I liked it, but I told my son he could have it, but I end up selling it.
Okay.
But
my son was probably mad too.
I hate that I got rid of it now. As soon as I handed it over, like I was kicking myself in the butt. You know what I mean? So, but they wanted it, so I told them everything has a price on it, and
exactly.
I'm eating those words now because I don't have any more. But
you could always get another one. They ain't extended.
Yeah, I mean, but right now at this time it's hard to find. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
But
I'll probably find one.
Yep.
He said he could probably help you find one, man.
That's cool. Yeah. I get another one day, but my of choice is the Gen 3, the Glock 19. That's my baby. That's my go-to. That's my carry.
All right, fam. I'm gonna hit you back later.
For sure. All right, man.
Nice meeting you, bro.
For sure. Nice meeting you too, bro. We'll link.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
For sure. All right.
Love. Peace.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. When I was coming here to do this podcast with you, I thought about him because he's every time we talk, it's about guns. Talk about the business, and then he's like, man, I got this gun, and because my godpop, God bless his soul, he had this Beretta back in the day, and he left it to him. So he's a big gun guy. You're a big gun guy, and I thought that would be great to kind of put y'all together. Today is October the 3rd, 2021. We have 89 days left in the year. What do you want to accomplish in 89 days?
89 was about what? Less than 3 months.
Yeah.
Getting the word out about my shop. I'm really about to get on this marketing game.
Right.
And I've been one thing about being an entrepreneur now, I realize your mind is always thinking, man, what can I do next? What do I need to do to improve the business, generate more customers, generate whatever I need to do to make this successful. So, man, even last week I was all around the city, just passing out cards, just meeting people, putting my face out there, putting my business out there, just so I could, let people know I'm here. There's a black-owned gun shop in Houston. and I would love people's support.
Right.
So just hitting the ground running, doing the work, building more relationship with more people. I'm really focused on that. I've got, like I said, I've met a lot of distributors. I feel like I'm good on that end. Now it's just letting the city know, I'm here. And seeing what works best for me and my business, and determining, what that looks like. So yeah, I think the relationship part is going to be a big reason, with other owners, with other customers, with the community, is what's going to be a driving force in longevity for me.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna just buckle down and see what I need to do to get things going.
Right. Now, I'm not a Glock guy, man. I think I need to go back and do research to see which one is the best fit for me. But I will be back to get a weapon.
Yeah.
I need one. My wife needs one. Need one in the. She needs one personally. We need one in the house. I got one in the car, and I need one to carry.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People are, why do you need so much? Why do you need that?
Right.
And I mean, it usually comes from people who aren't really into guns, right? For instance, I went hunting a few weeks ago, the other week, and when you get into other things, you kind of see why different guns are needed for different purposes. You kind of get what I'm saying? Because like you asked me how many guns I have, somebody might be like 6. Oh my God, why do you got that? Somebody might even say 2. Why do you need more than one?
Right.
And it's like different firearms for different situations. You can't go hunt birds with a Glock pistol.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you somebody who's new to the world of guns, they won't know that if they don't have a discussion with people.
Right.
And a lot of us, we don't want to talk with people for whatever reason. Like I said, like I was telling you about my friend who might be like, oh my God, you might be a Republican because you like guns. And some people, they don't want to talk to somebody who's a Republican just because they're Republican, or they don't want to talk to somebody about guns just because they don't like guns, So the information they get about guns, they might only get from the news or a politician who doesn't like guns anyway. So they're not going to give you the, the most accurate story or whatever. So, yeah, we just have to be careful about who you listen to and what you listen to without, learning about it yourself.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of people who don't agree with guns or don't like guns or think stuff need to be banned or all that type of stuff, they're going to keep what they want you to hear or know. They'll distort the truth pretty much, because they might have a certain anti-gun agenda or they don't like guns, so they're not going, So we have to be careful about that, being influenced by people who are anti-gun, So yeah, that's one thing I would caution us to do. Always learn, research, read for yourself.
Right. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next?
What's next? Man, what's your boy's name? Jonathan?
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's next. Trying to open up a range eventually. Like, when I think down the line of what's the end goal and what I see in the future, it would be this with a range and, a black-owned gun range where people could come in and shoot. And it's funny when I tell people or people ask me, hey, hey, I got a gun store, I got a gun shop. The next question is, hey, is there a range? You got a gun range,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it almost goes hand in hand. So eventually, when it's doing is what it needs to do, which is what I'm hoping, hopefully, that could come one day. So
right.
That's more long term, obviously. Right now, like I said, just building the business, meeting people, increasing my knowledge, my skills to build my business as big as it could be.
No doubt.
So, yeah.
I come bringing gifts, man. This is an exclusive SVI T-shirt that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast, right? And so it's not for sale, Houston, Texas. I give it to the creatives that have ventured out to start their own.
It's dope, man. I appreciate it.
And this is the exclusive What's Next podcast T-shirt that I give to every creative. It was an edition in 2020. And I just appreciate your time, man. I wish you well in your business.
Appreciate
And I'll be back to when I find the right gun for me. I'll be back to buy one from you.
Man, appreciate you. Podcast was great, man. I love the setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Once you reached out, I was like, oh yeah. I'm definitely doing the podcast for sure. Yeah,
it's your first podcast?
Man, I've done a couple.
Okay.
But, like I said, this one right here though, you got it together, and you've been doing it for a minute, you know. So I already knew, you know, what kind of stuff you'd be bringing. So yeah, when I walked in, I'm like, oh shit, yeah. Yeah. The lighting, the setup, oh yeah, we doing it.
I appreciate it, man. Houston, Texas. Episode 126 of the What's Next podcast. It's my man Ernie from TSU. Kote.
Sir, Coated Arms.
Coated Arms. Here in Houston, Texas. I'll be in a show October the 15th and 16th this month. More to come soon. I do what I do for myself to prove that I could do for others. Peace and blessings.
On my body, Biggie, Jigger, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my wallies, and them valleys, no Pilates.
John Ross Dike II, founder of Still Visionary and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping
I saw the sign like Ace of Spades, that Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guys, the really niggas who buy them bottles, and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude, I see you, dog. 5 bottles, 1 dick, why I need 2 rubs? I know I'm out of line, but love is out of time. You know it is a get on that high-ass hustle. This a private party, been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party, you gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the uppercut, fuck this up. Over and done, overdose.